Hello world, you here, and this is part 17 of the Python from 0 to 1 series. And today we'll discuss how we can accumulate stuff using a loop. Here we can use both for loops and while loops, but for simplicity's sake, let's just use for loops here. So let's say that we don't really know how to do math and we want to use Python to find the sum of 1 to 5. So essentially we want to find this. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So once again, let's assume that we don't really know how to do math and we can only do this using Python. So here, before we can find whatever this number is, we need to first print the numbers 1 to 5. So for I in range 1, 6. Because 6 is excluded, we will end at 5. So here I'm going to print I, and if I run this, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now that we are able to print the numbers from 1 to 5, we can think how to add them together. And the simplest way to do that is to accumulate into a variable using our for loop. So when I say accumulate into a variable, I mean that we do actually need to create a variable that is outside of the for loop. So here we want to get the sum of 1 to 5, which will be an integer. As such, we need to start with an empty integer. So in terms of addition, our empty integer will be 0. So next, we add I to n. And at the end, we will print n. And if we run this, we will get 15, which is the correct answer. So let's actually break this down. So at the start, n is equals to 0. And next, we go into our for loop. So range 1, 6 will generate the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, I is equals to 1, I is equals to 2, I is equals to 3, I is equals to 4, and I is equals to 5. So note that at this point, n is equals to 0. So in the iteration, n will plus equals to 1, which means that we will add 1 to n, and n is now 1, because 0 plus 1 is going to be 1. And in our next iteration, n will plus equals to 2. And here, n is now 3, because n was originally 1, and we add 2 to n, and so n is now 3, which also happens to be 0 plus 1 plus 2. So next, when I is equals to 3, n will plus equals to 3, which means that n is now 6. So originally, n is 3, and we add 3, so now n is now 6. So this is also equals to 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. And at this point, n is 6, so n plus equals to 4. So we will get n is 10. 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. And next, since n is 10, and we add a 5 to it, n is now 15. So this is also equals to 0 plus 1 plus 2 all the way until 5. And after I is equals to 5, we end our for loop, and we print n. So at this point, n is 15, which is correct. So the good thing about this is that we can replace this with 11 in order to find the sum of 1 to 10. So this will actually continue all the way until 10, and we will get 55. So here, once again, we need to create a variable that is outside of our loop. And at every step, we accumulate whatever we generate from our for loop into this outside variable so that we can store it. So here, this will be useful when we move on to strings, lists, dictionaries, and so on later too. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this was clear and easy to understand. See you in the next one.